Welcome back to another episode of the Hobby Chop Podcast, the podcast for the people. I am Big Ken. He is Zip. Zip, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really good. It's good to be back. We had the 1 week hiatus, but we're back now and I chop up some hobbies. So what's up, Big Ken? What are we doing?
We had the COVID hiatus.
COVID hiatus, yep.
The only content I put out that week was ripping a couple boxes. I'm on my deathbed, but I could rip a box or two.
I know. You know, it's so yeah. It's funny you say that because I remember I was just on YouTube or whatever, and I saw what was the clickbait title that you had for you had like your picture. You're like
pulling fire.
Yep. It was like pulling fire and making money or something. I was like, oh, he must be feeling better.
Yeah. When I got back from the national, I came back sick, and I knew, and I think it was that Monday I was just like scrolling around, and I'm like, you know what, I should order some wax. Give me something to do this week, and I went online and I bought some boxes, and I'm glad I did. I pulled that. Well, I didn't pull. Sherry pulled that great card, so it was definitely worth it. And the funny thing is, how crazy is it that of all the cards, to get a Sarah Strong True Gold Auto to 50. I mean, that was something that's been on my, search on eBay, and I kept trying to bid up on one, and I would just get blown out of the water. That it was just, they were going so expensive. And what are the chances she pulls the exact card I've been trying to get?
Fantastic. And I've talked to you endless amounts of, I think that True Gold Auto and that Bowman Chrome U set is gonna matter a lot compared to all the reptilian and stealth parallels. Like, makes no sense. But
and they don't have that like in all the other Bowman stuff, right? All the other Bowman stuff, like the baseball and stuff, they don't have all those reptilian and all that, right? It's just the colors, it's the orange, it's the gold, it's the blue.
Yeah. So not to my knowledge, I remember back in 2023 they did something called Lunar. And it looked like craters, like moon craters, and like different colors. But like traditional Bowman, which I think is great because it simplifies so much, is like they have the true colors of like the superfractor, which is like that. I don't even know how to describe that. It's like a champagne, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then they have the true red and true orange, true gold, true blue, and then the true refractor.
Yeah.
Well, $4.99. So like. And then they did shimmers or they did ray wave, but still it's with the color rather than like, why are we throwing reptile? What reptiles doesn't really speak to me for college basketball. But I will say something about ripping that set is like, it's one of those things where if you really watch checklists and you go back, it's like, because in that set, there's only like 100 players in the set, right? Mm-hmm. It's small. So like finding sets that don't have a lot of players, like I'm not really going to advocate for ripping. It's not, obviously we know it's not a great ROI, like, but you find those sets with the smaller checklists, and at least you can do your due diligence in that respect of like, let me go crazy on this set that has 100 versus like, what does Prism have, like 400?
Probably, yeah, at least.
Right? Yeah. So it's just, that's something to think about. I remember like back when I was in soccer, like 2020 Merlin, there's like 100 players, and it was a loaded draft class or rookie class. And, it was a great product. And if you ripped it, you probably got your money back in the long run if you're looking at it now. So,
and what's so great about that too, and what's been so great about that, if you know what you're looking, if you know who you're looking for, and you know what you're doing, and you know who the players are, you could really capitalize on that, right? Because of course, 2022 people were just ripping for Wemby, right? They were opening. That's all. Nobody even cared about the women, and the women were, just being sold off at such a low discount. And then it became Caitlin Clark in 2023, right? Everybody was just ripping that, for Caitlin Clark. And then this past year, right, it's spread out a little more. Like people almost knew what they were looking for, right? So being
I was going to say, then it went to Juju.
Yeah,
of
well, a
that
lot of
same year. Then it went to Juju.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Juju was in the 2022, but not the 2023, right? So
That's
now,
what I'm saying. In the
yeah,
Clark and Wemby years, like so after Clark left college, people who wanted that first of Juju, like they
yeah,
still went back to that for a third reason, right? It was Wemby, then it was Clark, and then it was Juju. Like that's crazy, you know what I mean? Of like a product just it becomes more popular again and again and again, and then it's like, oh, cool, I'm chasing for Juju, but oh look, I got a Wemby, or oh look, I got a Caitlin Clark. Like
yeah,
it's really cool when a product can do that. You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and I even tried to go back in the 2022 stuff to like find Juju, and it was too expensive. Those boxes were like $400 a
Yeah.
hobby box, and you'd open it up and there'd be hardly any women's cards in there at all, right?
Yep.
Even if you didn't get her, and maybe get like Kiki Rice or something like that
Was
in there.
Hidalgo in that? Was that her first?
Mm, I I think she was 23. I think her
Okay. I'm
first
not sure.
year was
I'm not sure.
23. Yeah, those were her first Bowmans. Yeah.
Was Betts? Was Lauren Betts?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's pretty deep. It's pretty deep. That's and that's another great thing about Bowman is like so. Whenever I think of Bowman, I think of Bowman baseball. And with Bowman baseball, it's just like you have these guys in the minor leagues for years, and then it's like that's what happens with Bowman, right? We're talking about Bowman, and I think it's great that you're seeing the carryover to more than just baseball. You got basketball now, and I think with the NIL and with football, you're going to see that with football. So,
but I don't think, and we can sit back and watch and see what happens. But I just don't think that college football card market is going to be as deep and as
I disagree. I think it will catch on big time. We can disagree on it. That's what's great. But
yeah,
I think it will be huge.
yeah. Because I think football people are like, well, when we came in and when we were in and we came back in, we said, oh yeah, the college jersey stuff's okay, but as soon as the pro unis come out, boom, that we don't even want to look at that. Even when you're at a table and someone shows up, we're like, it's college, we don't want any of that stuff. Well, any of the the Paige Beckers, right, the Caitlin Clark, things like that, we're still buying those things and still buying and selling. They really have a pretty good market. I mean, I'm getting ready to go to West Coast National next week, and I'm pulled out, all my, Caitlin Clark cards and going through what am I keeping and what am I selling. And then I'm looking at all these 2022 Bowman U PSA 10s, and I'm like, let's start looking up the prices. And all of a sudden they're like 225, 250, 275. I'm like, oh my God, this right? These things are still holding value. I can't see that happening with the football cards. I couldn't see myself pulling a Bo Nix card out or something and saying, "Oh yeah, look, that thing is still selling for exactly what it was a couple of years ago." So,
I just think, yeah. So like to say that it would get as big as like Bowman in baseball, I don't know, but like I think it's going to be big. I really do because college football is huge. Like college football is bigger than like pretty much everything else besides the NFL, right? Maybe that's the issue because I don't know. I like the WNCAA more than the WNBA. I think you probably are in that boat with me too.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's part of it.
It's that prospecting, right?
Yeah.
It's like we could get in on somebody and really, it's nice to hit singles. It's nice to hit singles and a couple doubles, right? But that NCAA women's, I mean, you can prospect on that and hit a couple, triples or home runs on those things. So that's what I think makes it so exciting.
There are some crazy college football super collectors though. Like, so we'll see though, because I think the NIL stuff is I really do. I feel like it's gonna if I think it'll change it a bit, especially when guys are staying there longer. Or you know what I mean? Like, why go to the NFL when you can stay there and make a lot of money?
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of people, a lot of these students hanging back to make more money before they go pro and get get the pro contract. So
All right,
let's
so that was our dose of college propaganda. So what are we talking about tonight?
let's just check in here. We got our guy Ryan, Reservoir Sports. Congrats! I appreciate that. Congratulating me on the gold. Sarah Strong, Big John Collector Cards in the house. What's up, gentlemen? Bill Oakes, what's up, gents? He says I was the one that made all the women's basketball cards go up. I don't think I have that kind of pull on the market just
That
yet.
was Ryan. That was Ryan. Yeah.
What's that?
I said that was Ryan who made all the cards go up.
Oh
Ryan
yeah. It
was Ryan Shield who made all the women's cards go up. Not us.
Bill says talk about F1 and tennis cards. It's funny, Bill. I was talking about tennis cards. Somebody had a bunch of tennis cards at the National, and I have all the 2000. What is it? 2000. The Net Pro 2012, 2002, whatever it was. All the old Net Pros. I have the full collection of that, and they're telling me they're all coming back again. So I may have some value there.
I have something to say about tennis cards for 1 second. I randomly saw someone who's signing in that product has my last name. And I don't have like a common last name, and I looked him up, and he's from Rome. That's where my family's from. So I was like, that's cool. Maybe that's a little side quest PC for me. Maybe I gotta do a 23andMe and see if we're related.
I gotta look for the Zip tennis player.
Yeah.
A collector's dream. What's up, brother? How you doing? Ryan says, yeah, Clark's Bowman Chrome market has remained very. It has. I mean, I was surprised pulling up some of the because you don't see those cards that much at shows anymore. And I talked about being at the National and everybody having a Caitlin Clark card in their case, but not seeing very little of the Bowman U College stuff. It was a lot of the pro stuff. So yeah, I was super excited to see that that market has remained strong. Billy is good, says F1. Oh,
Max Verstappen.
Is that the driver?
Sure is. It is a driver. Yeah.
Bill says I have that one. Bill says Arch Manning auto cards are very expensive. I don't have an auto card, but I have one of his cards. I'll be bringing out with me to West Coast next week.
I sent a few off for grading. Yeah.
Vintage card collector. Where'd that go? This says Clark's market is at a peak and is likely to soften. I've heard that from a number of people, and I could say seeing that so many of those cards out at the National has made me a little nervous too. When I've come back and I started thinking about my inventory to bring to Burbank next week, a lot of the stuff that just wasn't numbered, not the rare or scarce stuff, I'm bringing with me. Anything that's more rare or scarce, I'm hanging on to. I'm going to keep that right here in the PC, but anything should we say expendable, that I think that I could find anywhere, like any of these Prism, ice PSA 10s and greens and blues and all that. I mean, just going to bring all that out there and just hope to move all that stuff.
Yeah, and like I've said, I'm just going to keep buying and selling it until it falls off. But at some point, she has to do something. It's still pretty early. It's only her second year, but like she's hurt like all the time at this point. That's not being hyperbolic. Like she's hurt all like this whole year. It seems like she's been hurt.
Yep.
And not to pick fun at Bill, but like, can you pull that comment up?
The last one?
Yeah. Okay. So she needs 6 rings and 6 finals MVPs. Okay. She needs to actually be healthy enough to play in the finals. So it just, and I just feel like if you look at some of the other talent in the WNBA.
Yeah, but I understand what he's saying, and I don't think he's saying that she is like comparing her exactly to Michael Jordan. I think what he's saying is the popularity of her, which I completely agree with him. I completely agree with what you're saying, but I agree with him too with the
He's
popularity.
not the only one who says it either. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not the only one who says it. But I just
He says,
I mean,
he says comparing Clark to MGA is hilarious.
I could see her being like the Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
He changed the game a lot, and he never got his ring, and he was super popular. I don't know.
Ryan says his DT, Diana Taurasi, I would say, is the MJ. Yeah.
Should have been Maya Moore.
Yeah.
Maya Moore's the real code for NJ.
And what did you say to me before we came on about Paige Beckers?
she could be better than Caitlin Clark, man. She's
no, you said to me, do you think she could overtake Caitlin?
Overtake her? Yeah.
You know, and I don't care. Like I'm not gonna say I don't care. I don't think the talent level is going to come into play. I think the popularity of Caitlin, it's going to take a lot to dethrone her as far as what she's done with that sport.
And I don't hate Caitlin either. I like her. She's awesome to watch. I enjoy her socials. I enjoy a lot. It's just like, is this like the only market that we're just not going to take into account like stats? Or like, I mean, she has some great stats, but it's like achievement. Like it's really putting the cart in front of the horse. No, I don't know. I just like I couldn't be me. Like first off, I don't have 660 grand to drop on that 101, but couldn't be me doing it if I did. Like that's insane.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get on with the episode tonight.
But yes, what Bill just said is absolutely true. Clark is classy and acts it. She's a role model. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
So we're gonna talk about hobby relationships. We're gonna just jump into that a little bit later, but we're just gonna touch on a few current events in the hobby. One, we heard today that Topps will not print 2025 NFL product. That they're this year is the 2024 stuff. They're taking 2025 off, and then they're going to start printing it in 2026. So, a question I have, and I'm going to throw it out because you and I, we debate this ourselves all the time, but it's just us two, right? But this year's non-licensed stuff will this fall into this 2024 non-licensed with a really heavy quarterback year, right? Is this stuff going to fall into where it's going to be thought of as a higher level that people are going to pay more for these cards, even though they're non-licensed, or are they going to be considered a throwaway year? Just it's non-licensed, get rid of that stuff. And in 2026, when the stuff comes out licensed, then we'll start figuring it out.
I don't think it's going to matter until it's licensed, just because, and I think we saw this, the one-of-one superfractor Jaden Daniels auto, if it sold, do you think it would come close to 500 grand?
I don't think so.
No, but the Black Prism did. Yeah. Black Prism sold for that, right? So I feel like that's being really blunt about it, but I just feel like that's what's going to matter. Yeah, see, Tyler Kometz, no way. Yeah, no. Yeah. So like that's I just think.
So like my card here, right? There's dual auto, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, right? Non-licensed card.
Yeah.
So 5 years, 10 years from now, this card will still be considered garbage, even though
I don't know about that. But how blunt do you want me to be about what I would do if I had that? Like, I would have sold it yesterday. I would have sold it yesterday.
It's going. It'll go next week. It'll go next.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying is like, could it be super value? I mean, it could be, but I think more so than like anything, it's not going to matter that it's a Topps card. It's going to matter that it's those two that have performed well in their autographs. Yeah, I think that's what would matter more so than it being Topps at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
I could be wrong though. I really could. I just feel strongly about that.
What we see in this hobby, and sometimes we don't get to see it, or it happens years down the line, is people say, oh, like there was something off that one year or this year or that year, right? And all of a sudden everybody wants to own the cards from that year, where there's no rhyme or reason. You're like, oh my God, everybody thinks that year now is the year to own all the cards. And I don't know if these 3 years, this 24, 25, 26 in NFL down the road is going to come into play, whether there's a rarity or a scarcity or people just want those. I think the negative part about it is the overprinting of all these cards, right? So I don't think anything that's not that's it's not numbered or super short print, I don't think it's going to hold any value down the road.
Yeah, and I think you see how not super short prints are too. Like you look at the pop on some of the downtowns, it's outrageous. Yeah. It's outrageous. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I've bought and sold these Topps cards because also on the other hand, it's the only way to really get their autos as like rookie autos. That's not like Leaf. And I think the brand recognition of Topps is what makes those cards have any value, right? Like it's not Leaf and it's not putting Leaf down, but I think it's just brand recognition. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, Vintage Card Collector says the chance of one of the QBs will have a Hall of Fame caliber career is unlikely. The chance they both is next to zero.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cardboard Collaborative, probably less likely is not being licensed matters, and more likely the players haven't lived up to the hype in the end.
How about this about that card, Ken? Would it still make sense to sell it now with the hype going into the season, and then at some point in its existence, if you do want that card, you can probably buy it back for cheaper than it's about to be in the next month, right? Like let's talk about that.
You know my rule.
Get that card back cheaper.
Yeah, you know my rule about quarterbacks.
Oh, I do.
I sell them all before the first game of the season, right? It's what I do. I've been left holding that hot potato too many times.
Yep.
I'm fine to let it go. And sometimes I look back and I say, wow. And I'll say to you, remember I had that card, look what it's selling for now. But 90% of the time, right, it's the opposite. It's, wow, I'm glad I sold that card because look where it's at now.
Ryan literally just like said the same, wrote in a comment as you said it.
Yeah, there you go.
90% of football drops after the season starts.
Yeah.
Yep.
He agrees with me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that, Ryan. Yeah, I mean,
and it's interesting. Even if the guys are performing well, sometimes it drops.
Yeah. And the only thing we could hope for is a lot of hype coming out of camp, right? Yeah. And let me ask you a question. And we got a ton of people in here, and a lot of football people in here. Are you? Yeah, yo, Makok. Are you watching this Hard Knocks? And I was like, I'm a Chiefs fan, but I was excited to see the Buffalo Bill thing, right? I really was. Coming into the Bills, I was really excited to see this. 2 episodes in, I'm falling asleep. I'm like, I learned nothing about. They haven't let me connect to anybody in the show. I mean, every year they do this great job of connecting people, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, I just think they could do so much better. They haven't even made Josh Allen likable. They haven't even made him likable in this thing, and I think he's a likable guy, right? I don't know.
I'm so glad he brought this up because I've like not trashed Josh Allen, but I've like talked about like he needs to do something. I love him as a person, dude. He's like the most likable guy in the league, maybe. And if you want to enjoy Josh Allen, go find some YouTube golf videos where he's in, and you'll enjoy Josh Allen. The best Josh Allen like video I've seen is like it's him, Grant Horvat, John Rahm, and Phil Mickelson doing like it's a 2-versus-2 scramble, and it's fantastic. And like Josh Allen like goes into Phil's rangefinder and changes it from yards to meters to mess up. Dude, it's just so good. And like Josh Allen is the man. He's the man.
Maybe I could be watching that Tuesday nights at 10 o'clock because I am so disappointed. So maybe it's going to get better. but I've really been disappointed. The best part of this last episode was knowing that Marv Levy was still alive. The coach called him and wished him a happy 100th birthday. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, man, that was.
I haven't watched Hard
part of
Knocks.
the episode.
I didn't watch Quarterback when it initially came out, so I'm like watching the Quarterback series like right now as it's leading up. I don't know if you've seen that on Netflix.
Yeah. Oh, I've watched them all.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm watching the Quarterback series following like Kirk, Goff, Burrow.
Kid, you're so late. We all.
I am. But guess what? It
ago.
sounds like I'm killing it over Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks sounds like a snooze fest from what you're saying, so I'm fine.
Military Breaker says he's sitting on 10 Hendon hookers. I hope that's not my fault because I'm sitting on about 40 Hendon hookers, the RPAs and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't want to leave Hendon out of that.
What's that?
I said don't want to leave Hendon out of that sentence.
No. And he says Chris Jones, most likable.
Chris Jones is hilarious too. Yeah, he has a great New Heights episode, that New Heights podcast.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Is he on it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the New Heights podcast just broke the internet with the Taylor Swift interview. Like, dropped
is he on that episode or a different?
No, he's not on that. He has his own episode. It's Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, and then Chris Jones, and it's funny. They talk about him running his 40 when his junk falls out, and it's just. Did you know about that?
No.
He's running his 40, and you know how they have the spandex.
Yeah.
It's a riot, man.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
Stone Cold Jones, baby. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say, I PC all the Chiefs stuff, but I have a number of his cards, and it seems like more than anything, I seem to find a lot of his cards at shows just in random boxes or in random places, and I just end up buying them.
He's gonna go down as like a great too. Like, he really is. Like, he really is.
So another current event, I don't know, I guess this just broke today, I'm not sure, but the theft at the National, people were missing, like it seemed to be like 3 tables in a row got hit, getting cards out of people having cards stolen out of their cases, and not for anything, like I've set up at a ton of shows, and maybe it's that working in that prison mindset of mine, but nothing's getting stolen out of my table. I mean, everything's in a case. The case is locked. I'm not lazy. I'm not
set up at the National too. I think that's important to this conversation because the National is more busy and more crazy than
I set up for 2 years at the National. I'm not lazy. I'm not propping my case open. People aren't going to be able to do the old reach around or anything like that. I'm leaving my stuff locked. Keys are in my pocket, right? Money strapped to my body. It's just like, I don't know. You hear this all the time and this stuff going. And I think, sometimes I want to say, what are you thinking? Like, especially where you are. Where you are. I do this at local shows, and I'll do the same thing at the National. I it's not because I'm at the National or I'm at a big show or I'm at a little VFW show. I'm doing the same thing. My cases are locked. My stuff's wrapped onto me. I'm aware of my surroundings. I'm aware of people who are at the table. I'm aware of people who are distracting me. Right. So I don't know. Sometimes I don't understand like what some people are thinking. And sometimes, it takes somebody to get ripped off to be like, this is never going to happen again. I'm going to figure this out. And somebody I know, and I'm not going to say who, but somebody I know, they set up a camera. The camera's not even running, but they set the camera up and it looks like it's running and they're videotaping everything. Because I started asking them about, and they're like, yeah, no, there's nothing running. I mean, it's just a deterrent. Like as soon as people think that there's videotaping, they're not going to be messing with trying to steal my stuff.
It's funny you say that because I remember there was this study they did at a restaurant, and what they did is they just put a picture, like a printed image of eyes, like by the sink, and just a ton of people washed their hands, like way more with the thought of someone was watching you wash your hands. Yeah. That, or like if the restaurants have the sink out of the bathroom, there's like the little area, like it's not too common, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
People are washing their hands every time out there because everyone can see them. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
when
and
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say too, a place like the National, don't you think that they, in today's day and age, they've got cameras?
Yeah, honestly, when I saw that headline like video, and I was just like, I don't care. This happens every year. I can watch it next year, or I can go back in the past years and watch it. It's not that I don't care that happened to the people. It's just like people are aware of how much money's in the room at the National, what the value of the items are. Like, it's gonna happen, and there's just so many people there. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Think about how many people's value boxes got stolen from that they have no idea. A ton. A ton of people got stolen from and they have no clue.
Yeah.
Too. So
Yeah. You mean people
Part
just
of it.
digging through a value box and just walking off with the card?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be amazed if I was wrong that no value box cards got stolen at the National. Like, that'd be more impressive than anything.
Yeah.
That no one swiped anything.
Yeah. And they have. I mean, there's enough. I know Bill here just said set up a Wi-Fi camera at the high end case. Well, why does it have to be high end? Like, why? I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to be stealing anything, right? And I think they're cheap enough to be able to throw even if it's not a Wi-Fi, even a camera that has a card in it, right? A memory card in it, just to turn it on and let it just keep rotating over itself after 8 hours or something like that, just to keep an eye on what's going on. It's nice to have the camera running to make content, but that's a whole other thing you have to worry about while you're there too. So just to keep your stuff safe, anyways. So today's episode, hobby relationships. So one of the things you talk a lot about. Being able, buying cards and having an exit plan for those cards as soon as you get them, having multiple exit plans, talking about percentages you get it at. And a lot of people are like, hey, you know what? I'd buy those cards at that percentage if I could. Comments come in and out. And I just thought it's something that, we should talk about and just bring up because in this hobby, you have to be really, really lucky for great deals to fall in your lap. Yeah, I mean, you really do. With the amount of people that are in the hobby, and we both know, and everybody here knows, if you're in this hobby, the people you surround yourself with are in the hobby too, right? So good deals come. It's not like you get this, you're in a group and someone says, hey, this guy's got a bunch of cards over there. Anybody interested? No. One guy'd be like, oh yeah, I'll go look. It's not like that. Everybody's like, oh yeah, what does he got? Let's go check it out. Let's see. Everybody's, as soon as you hear something, you're interested. So good deals hardly ever fall in your lap in this hobby. I mean, it happens, right? It happens to all of us sooner or later. But if you really want things like that to happen, right, you need to go out and make it happen. And a lot of that is just building hobby relationships, right? It's doing right by people. It's finding people that will sell you the cards, finding people that will you can buy the cards from and move the cards to, right? And you are a perfect example of that. You used to set up at shows, and life with graduate school and a baby and so many things going on, you don't get the shows, but you move more product than most people I know.
Yeah,
and that's really just based on hobby relationships.
Yep. Yeah. So how would you like me to unpack that? I mean, I think you did a great job of setting up, but like, where would you like?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just say that you need to put the work in. I think that
I would like you to say that rather than it coming from me, because I think that matters. Because on the daily or the weekly of what I'm doing.
Yep. So, and I do, and even like in our, like we have different groups we're part of, and so, some people see this stuff coming through and they're like, hey man, sell me that. Where are you getting those cards? Sell me that, like all that stuff. And you're like, no, because I got somebody over here. I got, this person's buying at 92%. This person's buying at 91%. This person's buying at 90, or this, I can resell that, or I can grade that. So when you're buying these things, you're putting that work in. So where I'm going and setting up at a show, and I put the work in going to a show. I'm getting the inventory. I'm setting up at a show. I'm paying for the table, putting the stuff out. I'm spending the day. I'm doing all that, right? Everybody knows what that is. But you're not doing that. You're working the computer. You're working the phone. You're driving to other states.
I would argue I'm doing more. I would
Yeah.
argue I'm doing more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're calling me from the car when you're, on a Saturday morning, getting on a ferry to go to Long Island.
And guess what? That didn't work out. Like, I'm not going to get into it because it's not suitable for a podcast, but I went out to Long Island for a 5-figure collection, and flat out just it didn't happen. A main part of it was a bait and switch that like the 4 most valuable cards allegedly were stolen the day before. Sure. But
this is the stuff you have to put up with. This is the stuff you make zero money. You make zero money when you go all the way out there.
Or I drive 3 hours at like really late at night to buy a Brady collection, and to Boston. It's like 11 p.m. that I'm meeting this guy at, and the Brady's fake. The Bowman Brady is fake. Mm-hmm. And then I drive home empty-handed. Like, that happens. No, and I'm not setting up at a card show where I have to worry about, is there slow traffic? Well, there's buyers coming through. No, I'm going out there to hope that I can buy this collection, and it's what people are saying they are. And, I had a beautiful ferry ride the other day. It was great. Yeah, it was fantastic.
And I'm just going to touch on comments because I'm going to make a comment from the comments. So Military Breaker says, I'm more inclined to sell at a lower price to people I trust and interact with on a regular, meaning me. And I appreciate that. I thank you. Bill says, I sell it to my friends at lower percentage of comps. Bill, I 100% agree to that. Military Breaker, I identify as your friend, Bill. So here's the thing, and here's the difference, and here's what people don't understand. And I'm going to sound like I'm defending you right now, but I'm doing this because I understand you, right? First of all, I'm going to start with the question was, how many deals have you and I done in the last 6 months?
I don't know.
Zero. I don't think we bought or sold anything to each other.
I think I gave you some Jared Wiley cards. That's about it.
What's that?
I think I just handed you some Jared Wiley cards. But
what I'm saying is, and I just made up a 6 months because Military Breaker, Bill, and probably 10 other people that are in this chat that have done deals with me, that we both take care of each other, right? If I have a card you want, right, I'm giving you a discount. You're giving me a discount because we're doing this back and forth. This is part of what we do in the hobby, right? Where you're a little different. You're not with the guy that's coming out to the shows with us and setting up and saying, yeah, I'll sell you this. You sell me that. And we're, doing things for each other. You're not that person, right? So when you're out buying, your margins are very thin. You're a young guy, right? Young family on the up and coming, right? And some of us like me or retired have been around doing the, have lots of other things going on. And this is not the end all, the hobby. And I'm not saying it is for you, but we're all in different stages of our life, right? So I'm just talking about me. You're talking about you. But when it comes to those hobby relationships, my relationships suit me, right? And what I do in the hobby, and your relationships suit you. Doesn't mean you and I don't have a relationship, but we have a different type of hobby relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
And Kamikaze says neither is an end user. Correct.
That's fair enough.
Yep.
I mean, I buy out people's collections and they go to a variety of places. Thinking about how I should start this. Well, when it comes to who I buy from, I'm very much finding people who are selling everything, and something that, yeah, I'm getting stuff at good percentages, but I'm definitely buying stuff that people who are like, oh, I would buy at those percentages, they wouldn't touch some of the cards that I'm buying, because how do you move them? I don't even know sometimes. But in order to get the good deals, I'm taking everything, right? Like, and
that's part of the deal to get the good deal.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's overlooked, a lot of the time. And it's I'm taking a lot of stuff too. It's I'm not just cherry picking like, oh, these 3 cards, they're $800. Like, no, not at all. And I'm at the point now where, like, I basically look at it as wholesaling, honestly, just because of how I'm acquiring things. Like, I have, I'm not going to say exactly how many, but I have a handful of people who I don't know how they acquire or how they get their stuff, but they sell it to me at a percentage they know I will buy at consistently. And that's how we operate. And then on the back end, different price ranges and time frames, because I keep the velocity up. Like, I move to those people. Like, for example, if things are in my hands too long, I'll send them out to PC Sports Cards, and I know that's my rate. And guess what? I don't have to sell below those rates, because I know I'll send them out there. And as I just shared with you and some of our, like, couple people that we text with, I'm beating comps on those auctions a lot of times on the big cards that matter. So why would I sell for less if, like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense, because I'm not out there like at shows like you do this, I do that. Like, when I was setting up at shows, I did that all the time. And I had people where I would sell, and then vice versa. It's like, it's a give and a take. But like, when you're kind of more on your own, I also feel like something that's more valuable than the little give and take here and there is education, and letting people know how you can, like, be more efficient with moving cards. And whether people want to hear that or not it's their own prerogative. I don't really care, but I know I'm sharing that information.
Yeah.
And I know in the next coming episodes we're going to have a milestone thing, and realistically that's like maybe 50% of the volume I'm moving. Mm-hmm. So because I have these relationships where I have, a guy from X dollars plus, if it's super liquid, I will get a very, very strong percentage that will beat out eBay, or beat out anyone else. But like, what I value the most in terms of relationships is really like my close friends that, and you're my close friend if we're talking on the phone, like weekly, like it's very small, but like talking about trends and topics and how to do this better and how to do that better, because I feel like those conversations and that feedback with each other is way more valuable than shaving a percentage off of comps for a card. Like, Ken, if you ever had a card that I wanted, I'd probably pay what you're asking if I really wanted it. like, just truthfully. And I know, like, we actually have done a deal in the past 6 months. I sold you a Mahomes case hit at Causeway. PSA 10 Mahomes case hit. It was like forget what it was out of. Who knows? I don't know. I've had a bunch of the case hit things.
Was it the Genesis?
Yeah, it was a Genesis. Yeah.
I was, and today getting ready for the show, yep. I just added that card to my spreadsheet to go because I saw that. And I was thinking to myself, I don't remember where that card came from.
I remember what I said to you. Our buddy, who we've sold a bunch to, I was like, I could sell it to him all day for like 88%. I know you're a Chiefs guy and he's your guy. You want it for 85. And I was waiting with a stack full of cards for him. Yeah. So it's just like,
yeah. It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah. So with that being said, you overpaid on a Trinity Rodman card, probably looking back on it from me. So it all evens out. It all evens out. And you know what? I remember I bought an Erling Haaland gold bubbles card off of you a long time ago. And that was a card I really wanted. And I think whatever your sticker was, I just paid it because I was like, I want that. So, yeah.
Cardboard Collaborative says, someone that I'm actually friends with, I'm not looking for a deal. I'd rather my money go to them than save 10% with someone
Absolutely.
else. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think also that really shows, like, I have a ton of hobby acquaintances, right? And I think you do too. When it really comes down to hobby friends, like, when it comes down to hobby friends, like, would I hang out with them outside of anything hobby related? That matters to me, truthfully. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Well, and your time is a little bit more valuable to you at your age than other people are. So this all comes down again to the relationships, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to touch back with too is a lot of these things you're buying, right? And you and I talk a lot. I mean, it's work. I mean, you're buying it to put the work in because the person selling it to you does not want to put the work in. They just want to move it out, take their piece and move on and reinvest it back into something else, where you're taking it and you're putting in the work on that. And I think that, that says a lot, because a lot of people in the hobby are willing to, put the work in the things that they like doing, and maybe not want to put in the work on the things they don't like doing. And that thing you said too about the knowledge, just educating, I think that is very valuable. And even I've been doing this podcast. I've been doing my own podcast for so many years, right? But even coming on and sitting here talking with you and going through things, I've changed up. Like, it's made sense. You just talking about things, I'm like, well, I'm going to try that. And even we're doing these lives in the chat where people will say something like, oh, you should try doing this. And I'm never one to say I'm not going to try anything, right? Like, I'll always give something a try. It may fail, it may work beautifully, and I may be doing a whole episode on it next week, or it may have failed miserably and I'm doing a whole episode on it next week, right? But I'm willing to try. I'm willing to go out and do some of those things to trying new things. But it really comes down to how much time we want to put in.
Yeah.
Because I put a lot of time in creating the content. So this to me is like my biggest part. Even though I'm setting up and I'm buying cards, I'm doing all this, the content creation has really become the biggest part of what I do with my time in the hobby.
Right. Yeah. And for me, like, like, if I'm going to do something that, and I'll be as blunt as I can about it. If I'm going to do something that is going to take time away from being with my son, it better be worth my time. And if you have a problem with that, bleep you. Like, I don't care, man. Like, absolutely. Because the last thing I want to do is go set up at a card show and get lowballed. Here's where I have an issue. When someone's going to come and lowball me on like cards, and they're not taking several $1,000s worth of cards to make it worth a quick, like, you know what I mean? It's like, what are we talking about here? Like, I just feel like you have to take a certain amount of cards to get a deal. And if you just expect that deal, like, that just means, I think that just means you and your heir you think is more important than the other person you're talking to. And that's not someone
It's funny because I get people say that to me all the time, because I'm the cherry picker, right? I'm unlike you. I don't want to go up and buy 10 cards because I really want a good deal on that one card, and I'll do something else with these other cards. I'm more of a cherry picker, and I'll start talking with somebody to make an offer, and they'll be like, well, are you just taking one card?
Yeah.
and just like what you're saying right there, I'm like, yeah, I'm that guy.
And I mean, hey, like, if it works for you, do it. But it's just like, why would I do it, right? Yeah. Like, and that's what I think about too. Is like when I buy, like, the relationships I've built, like, like, I have mileage on my car. I have mileage on my car, and like, I go to people and I take all their cards. All the people that I buy from, trust me, where like they're just sitting there. I have all my sticky notes out and I'm comping everything. Sticky note on this, sticky note on that. All, like, you know, for an hour sometime. I've sticky noted a collection for 5 hours. Okay.
Ugh.
Like,
It just
and
sounds painful to me.
oh, it is.
It's just,
But I'm putting in the
especially in
work.
a stranger's house.
I mean, I usually get offered like a nice beverage. Like, you know, it's not too bad. The last one that we're not going to talk about was awful. There was a snake when I walked up to the house. I should have known it was an omen. But I just think it's important too, is like when you have these relationships, is that you're both just at an understanding of where each is at.
Yeah.
And if you get offended by someone from a price, I think sometimes they could just be rude and other words. But I think it's also to know too, at the end of the day, it's like, it's not an indictment of who you are as a person. It's
You don't know what people are into those cards for. And you know me, there's a lot of cards I pay strong on,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes I'll pay strong on a card, and you know, somebody be like, "Oh, that's a great card. You know, can you give it to me at this percentage?" No, I really can't, because I paid strong on it, and I did because I like the card, and I'd rather just keep the card than trying to, you know, sell it off to somebody else, where I'm going to pass on to them to pay even more money and be, you know, even more upside down on a card. You know, that I don't want to be the beginning of the upside down on that card and move that along to somebody else. I'd rather just hold that card. And I say that all the time. Like, I never get upset with somebody if I say, "Hey, will you take that?" And they'll be like, "No." Even if they give me that face or they look like they're like, because I mean, I don't know where you are on that card. Yeah. Right. And it depends when I'm buying that card too. Is that card going into my PC? Is that card going into the a box that's going to be for 6 months from now? Or is that card I'm looking to sell next week? Right. Yeah. So it all depends how I'm going to pay on that card. But I never hold it against anybody when, you know, and I hope they don't hold it against me either if they feel like I've lowballed them or something like that. Because at the end of the day, this is what we're talking about is relationships. Because these people, like if I'm set up at a show, right, or I'm walking a show, I've been doing this so long. I know everybody at the shows. I know all the dealers. It doesn't matter where I go now. I know 85 to 90% of the dealers. If I don't know them personally, I've seen them or I've done a deal with them. So, you know, at the end of the day, I would just as soon have a great relationship and not buy or sell anything, you know, in the hobby, if it would create static, right, and between us to not have that relationship. So
and like a lot of the relationships that I create, like you see these people in a space where there is competition. Like I'm usually meeting with these people one-to-one. I'm the entity of I'm who's buying.
Yeah.
And there is leverage to that. There's strategy to that. There's also the risk I just talked about of hitching a ferry and coming home empty-handed. Like there's that too, or driving out and getting back home at 2 a.m. for some fake Brady's. Like there's that too. But like, I'm also like upfront with people about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And also I don't expect certain percentages if I'm not taking either, there is a threshold that I don't have like defined, but like an X amount of dollars, or like someone messaged me, they were selling some cards. There was a few that I really liked. There was a ton that were terrible. Like I didn't want. And I was like, look, this is the percentage I'll be at. It was right around like $1,100-$1,200 worth of cards. And I was like, I'm going to be at this percentage because I don't want the majority of it. And I was like, you can sell to me, but I was like, if you want to sell to someone else, you'll probably get more because I really don't want this. But the people who I have, you know, a regular relationship that I'm buying from over and over, like, I'm not saying that because there's give and take to every relationship.
Yep.
Like, if you're going to give me the deals on the good cards, I'm you know, I'm going to buy on the crap cards. And
there's a reason they keep calling you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because they don't do any of the work. I show up, I have a decent conversation, and then, you know, take the cards and go. Like I had to pay a percentage that people think is great on a Kenny Pickett downtown PSA 10 that I wish I didn't, and I lost money on it because no one wanted it. I had to send it out to PC, or maybe I broke even on it. I don't know. Either way, the auction went like $50 less than the card was, like when I bought it, value wise. Yeah. So I probably just broke even on it. But like I didn't want it. I don't want a $300 Kenny Pickett. Is that a card that exists? It did. I don't want that, but I have to take it when I've spent like, you know, a nice down payment on a house with this guy this year. Like I have to take the Kenny Pickett. I don't want it. You don't want it. Would you, if someone came up with a Kenny Pickett downtown, would you buy that?
No. And again, we're two different people, right? I'm the cherry picker. I'm picking up cards that have three uses, right? It's an immediate flip, it's a short-term hold, or it's going into my PC. And at the end of the day, you know, that's how I roll in the hobby. I don't, you know, I'm again, I'm in a different point of my life. I don't need to be, you know, selling and trying to get, you know, the you know, making the $10 on 100 cards. You know, it's a lot of work.
I wouldn't do that either. I wouldn't do that.
No, but I mean, 100 cards at $10 a card type of thing. You know.
Right. Yeah. There's some people who the margins are so thin. I don't understand it. It's crazy to me.
And here's Bill. Somebody say downtowns. I'm in. I'm buying. How much? Homer's in the house. Everybody knows Big Ken. So we're just almost on the hour, and
yeah, I'm excited. I'm fired up.
Our last order of business, and you can tell the way I'm just easing into it, and Jordan's like a cheerleader over here. He's all fired up to do the Hobby Chop Fantasy League, to do a redraft league. So we set up a Dynasty League. And there was a lot of people asking, so we decided, or Jordan,
overwhelming support. I feel like I should announce this. I'm way more excited about it. I'm gonna take the reins on this.
All right, you take the reins, kid.
I advocated for the listeners because the response we got in the Dynasty and the requests we got from the redraft, and Ken and I had. There's a peek behind the curtain. Ken was like, "I'm already in so many leagues, man. I don't know. Do you think we should still do that?" Yeah, we should still do it. And the negotiation was, Ken, you're the commissioner, and it's going to be on Yahoo.
It'll be my first time being a commissioner because I want it to be on Yahoo. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 37. I know. I don't know if I'm going to have time to be creating content with all these fantasy leagues, but
we're going to have a little like offshoot of fantasy football chop. I don't know. Dude, I can't wait. I'm so excited for fantasy football. But yeah, so it's going to be a 12-team league. So obviously me and Ken are in it. There's 10 spots. It's going to be $100 a spot, PPR format. And then what are we going to do? A quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, tight ends.
Yeah, flex. Whatever standard Yahoo it is.
Standard Yahoo. Okay.
Yeah. With the PPR.
Should we have people reach
top
out
3
to
will
you?
Pay. First, second, and third place will pay, and we'll figure those out.
Should we have people reach out to you or me to get into this?
Either or.
Yeah.
Just send a message at sportscard_lessons. And what are you at zips.cards?
Zips.cards. Yep.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Yeah.
Best way to contact us.
Yep. Send let us know if you're interested. I am going to be out in Burbank next Wednesday to the following Tuesday, which I come back the 26th. So we'll probably do the draft right after that.
Yeah. So I know you. Yeah. You do the draft. I anticipate on this league being filled tomorrow. I really do, because the Dynasty League overfilled in a day, and this is a redraft league, and one league, like we already have Bill and Billy are in. Boom, one spot down. So you know, it's gonna fill quick. If you're interested and you hear it, send a message. You may be late, but if not, we'll get you in there.
And I just want you to know, I am super excited for football. Like I
Oh, I know
am
you are. I know you're
and I'm looking at these card shows that are on Sundays in the fall, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to bring the iPad. I'm gonna have to be, the NFL Red Zone playing, for my, but I'm super excited for
I
football.
have my son yelling football, like football. I have him yelling football. He said running back. He said quarterback.
I
Like
heard him say, "Go Chiefs."
he's a Chiefs fan, and you know what? I'm a Dolphins fan. It's going to be a way better childhood for him to be a Chiefs fan than a Dolphins fan. So I'm fine with it. I really am. Fine by me, because no one should have to deal with that suffering. It's
Better than
terrible.
a Bills fan. What?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
We got to get out quick. All right. So look, next week, actually, you want to just talk about this now for a minute? You want to, I'm leaving Wednesday, so we'll have to get an episode in. I think we'll record an episode next week. We'll
Yeah, I was
drop
gonna
it
say
up.
we may have to record because
Yeah.
I'm away too next weekend.
Okay. So just plan on a recorded episode. You'll get an episode next week, but it'll be a recorded episode.
Yeah.
So that's it. I want to thank everyone for watching, for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and like I said, we'll be back next week with the recorded episode. Zip. Have a good night, kid.
You as well. Adios.